Good evening, everyone. I'm Manoj, founder of Biohope Scientific Community. I'm joined by Moitra, co-founder of Just One Step Foundation. We are honored to welcome Dr. Avinash, our today guest speaker, scientist from Stanford University, one of the brilliant mind in redox biology. So once again, thank you so much, actually, Dr. Avinash, to manage your precious time for us. Uh, to join this meeting to share your thought to what you are the science. Can you please, first question is that, can you please tell us about your academic journey and what motivated you to pursue this science?
So I've worked with many different scientists over the past 15 years that I've been in science. Uh, and every scientist that I worked with have been encouraging and supporting in my scientific journey. I did my bachelor's in a small town college in Pune. Then I did my master's in National Institute of Virology. I did a couple of jobs in India in National Institute of Virology, National Institute of Immunology actually, as a junior research fellow. And uh, then I did senior research fellow at a fairly new institute at that time called THSTI, Translational Health Science and Technology Institute. Then I went to Spain to get my to get my PhD actually, but I didn't really like the whole system that was going on at that time. So I took masters and came to US for my PhD. Uh, but I would say it's always been a step, one step at a time. So that's how I am in science now.
Yeah, Moitra, over to you.
So, can you please briefly uh, please tell us about the current field of your research and how did you stumble upon it and why it is so important regarding to the scientific world?
So currently, I work in the Department of Pathology in Stanford University School of Medicine. We work on peptide hormones. These are the small signaling molecules that our body secretes to regulate this physiology and signaling process all over the body. So common example of these peptide hormones is insulin. The current very hot topic is GLP-1. That's the Ozempic drug that reduces the obesity. So we try to understand what are the different peptide hormones that are not discovered yet in the scientific community. We try to identify new peptide hormones, which will have strong effect into obesity, appetite reduction, and at the end, that will reduce the livelihood of people. So, if you know, America has a very chronic obesity problem, and not just America, all over the world, obesity is the issue. At the same
Yeah.
time, the obesity related diseases are also very frequent. So, understanding how we can regulate obesity will result into different uh, uh, disease therapy.
All right.
Yeah.
So, so basically, it is finding the peptide bonds that are causing our obesity. So that is your job to find the thing and prevent us to be obese and live our lives freely.
Yes, you can put it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Manoj,
Yeah,
over to you.
yeah, thank you. Uh, Actually, your journey, as you share as of now, you start from journey from India, small town, then working in India top research institute like it's the NII, it's a Trishti, it's the National Institute of Virology. You are doing your masters. That's a dream of
Yeah.
many Indian students, actually, basically. Then you will go France for your PhD, but you are not settle down there. Then move USA. Means that's a very long journey, and in this long
Yes.
journey, that's the means since your early career, which things you are means what is the challenges you will face in your career, means early career research, and how you overcome with all these kind of things?
So the challenges you would face being in science, like, so as you said, I have been to Spain, now in US. Even in US, I worked in two different set of cultural societies, right? New York is different, California is different. Uh, so challenges you would face that I actually faced was how to navigate within the different cultures. Even in India, so India is a whole other cultural entity, right? So work in the Indian society was very different compared to Spain and US, but that is not a limiting factor, right? I would not say there were setbacks or there were limitations. It's just how if you think that particularly, uh, it gives you a way of looking at things. Science is just about how you see things, right? It's about how you understand the question that is in front of you,
Yeah,
and
how to
that
address
comes
the
from
questions.
different. Yes. So how do you address the question? How do you navigate through the problems that you face during addressing that question, right? So it all up to that. And when you work with brilliant minds in the in a field, that really puts you into perspective in uh, understanding the reason behind your question.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But then how you address the means your means we are facing when you are doing we are doing research means we are facing too much problem in case of the
Yes.
journal, in case of the grant, in case of the papers. Means how do you deal with rejection? Because in research, rejection is the key means a key of
Yes.
success. You
Yes.
but how you will overcome this? Because
So the thing is
I
that,
study your profile, you are publishing in Nature. Uh, that's
yes.
a dream of many scientists.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, well, first of all, how the way you could navigate in science is through passion, right? You have to have a strong passion to do research, right? Because even though science is very rewarding, it's not the best job financially, right? You don't get paid a lot. Even if you are very well educated, you earn PhDs and do work in Stanford and MIT and Harvard, you still don't get paid as much, right? So to negate the financial aspect, you have to have passion to what you do, right? Science is has to be the core value of your idea. The second question that you asked about rejection, uh, you have to understand that rejection is a part of your process. You have to normalize it. Uh, when we published our first paper in Nature, we had so many, like, it took us almost 2 years to publish that paper. Okay.
Yeah,
It went from like three different reviewers, three different steps to get into the final stage of publishing. But it's a part of process. You have to accept it. You have to when you get a rejection, you have to understand why. Why did you get rejected? Rejection is not it does not show your true potential. Okay. Rejection only shows that you were not a right fit at that time. Okay. So everything has to be perfect place. So you know how the uh, puzzle works. Like there are 1,000 pieces, right? You can't put one piece from this corner to this corner, right? Everything has to be put in one place to become one puzzle, right? Or one picture. So that picture is a success. But
yeah,
to get into that end success, you have to make sure that you put every piece at the right time or at the right place. So you can, and that happens only when you put wrong piece at the right place. That's when you understand that piece does not fit there, right? So you have to understand that it's a part of process, and also rejections are bound to happen. You have to understand why it happened, okay? And then the most important thing that I see and that I have realized in negating rejection is that you have to talk to people. You have to ask people that, let's say I wrote a grant, okay, and it got failed. It didn't get funded. So what I would do, I would go and talk to people. I would show the grant to people. And I'm like, can you please tell me what's wrong with my grant? Right? Even though those people don't know anything about my research, they know how I wrote they know how to write a grant, how to structure a grant, what are the wordings that needs to be going there. I might have made a mistake. I'm not the perfect person. That's why I didn't get the grant. But asking for help is most important, and collaborate with other people. We in India, that's the one thing I find very hard to understand is that we don't really collaborate. We have this mindset that, oh, if I talk to people, they're going to do my research in their own lab, and them. So we have this fear, and this we need to get out of this mindset. If you don't
Yeah,
collaborate, you're going to be a solo driver on the huge road. You can't get to the end of the road if you don't collaborate. So
yeah, that's fine. Means that's what it means. Now you are basically a scientist and you are working in a top prestigious institute. But my question is that what is the typical day in your life as a scientist look like?
so as a scientist, day is pretty similar but different based on day to day. But every morning I go to lab, I understand, I try to frame what I'm going to do today, understand the concept of my experiment that I'm planning, then start the experiment. I always have someone that I'm training as a I'm the one thing that I enjoy being a scientist is mentoring. I try to teach younger generation how to do research, right? So I always have a mentor. I talk to them, I understand what they're doing. If they have any questions, I answer them, try to address as many as I could, try to understand the research, read some papers in the morning. That puts me into the whole mood of doing day's work. In the afternoon, I analyze the data from early a day before, or anything that I have pending, uh, analyzing the data. So I do that. And by the time I finish the day, I have like either cell culture, preparing for next day's experiment, all those things I do it. And most of the time, I try not to overwork. That's one thing I realized, but work smarter.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
means can you means you are taking told us about the current upcoming generation in the science means junior scientists, budding scientists basically.
yeah.
So could you please tell us means which common mistake do you see in your early career researcher made? What common mistake early career researcher made? And
So,
what are your suggestion?
Okay.
so I think the most common mistake that people make in research or in early career is they don't ask the question, and the most important question that every scientist and every person who's trying to get into science has have to ask themselves and into the field is why, right? Why am I doing this? Okay, what is the why this question that I'm asking as a part of my research question is why it's important, right? So that why is the most important question that we have to ask, right? And I don't see that too many people ask. They just follow. If someone told you to do this, they do this, right? You have to ask, why am I doing this? Even if I'm putting one solution to other solution, why am I doing this, right? So that's where the best advice I got early in my career was my mentor in National Institute of Virology, Dr. Kavita Lode, I think one of the best scientists I work with. She said, Avinash, don't do anything without understanding why you're doing it, right? And best way you can do that is apply your logic. What is the logic behind your particular step that you're doing? What is happening inside a tube, right? What are those two chemicals doing? Just think about it, right? Then you'll understand what's happening. So I think those kind of things when you get early on in your career, it really puts you into asking questions. That's why. The second thing that I see people make mistake is not develop their communication skills. The other part of research is communication. You have to tell people what you're doing. If you don't tell people what you're doing, then there's no point in doing anything. right? Science is about telling people. Science is about enhancing the knowledge of our surrounding. So how would you enhance the knowledge? By telling people. And to tell people, you have to communicate. And for that, you have to develop skills. We don't teach our kids how to communicate, right? So that's the one mistake I see that people make most of the time is not develop their own communication skill. And the second thing I would say is collaboration. As I was saying earlier, people don't collaborate. They don't try to interact with other people. Talk. Let's say Manoj and me working together. Most of the time, Manoj don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what Manoj is doing. That's because we are not talking. We are talking other things, but we are not talking science, right? So
Yeah.
I can only know the problem I have if I talk to other people. So I think that's the one thing that I see that people make common mistake, and the most common that I have seen and I also faced and I still try to avoid is burning out. I I get so invested into projects sometimes, and I work so much that by the end of the week, month, or year, I get so tired. I feel like I don't want to do anything anymore, and that gives you a physical fatigue and a mental fatigue. You don't get to think at all. So plan your work, as I said earlier. Work smarter, not harder. So
So great, that's great. So, what you said to that passion, it must be passion that should drive our work.
yeah,
So, for early career researchers, I think there if there is passion, but sometimes the problem is you also mentioned it earlier that may not be so rewarding. The pay salary or the monetary financial things are not so rewarding. So
yeah.
how can passion alone drive the wheel of research?
So so passion is like if you look at passion is like a circle, right? And what's in the circle is your patience, your resilience, your your the need to do something that is above you, right? You're asking some. So one thing I realized is that science is the only profession that pays you to ask questions,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? It's the only
So
profession that pays you to understand what's happening. There is no other
yeah,
profession, right? They will ask you, they will pay you to do what they want you to do, right?
yes,
But
yes,
here you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, right?
yes. The
As long
autonomy.
as there is
Yeah.
autonomy, there is uh, then you can. It's I guess so. Or when just talking about science, because I have always felt that that people who are working in office, they have to put a suit and tie and nice clothes and go to work, right? I can go the way I want because the way I dress is not important,
Yeah. The
The
right?
work is
work
important.
you do, that is
The work is
important.
important, right?
Yeah,
I find I wake up in the morning not thinking, oh, why do I have to go to work? Right? I wake up in the morning every day thinking, oh, yes, I have to go to work and I'm doing this today. I'm so excited
Yeah.
at the end of the day what
Excited.
that's going to happen.
yes,
Right?
Yeah.
yes.
That's excitement there. Right? And that's why
Yeah.
I like research. And passion is not the only thing that will drive you because at the end, you have to eat, you have to feed your family. That happens only through the money. Right? But science does not keep you poor, but does not make you rich, right?
Yeah,
It will
Yeah.
feed, it will give you some incentives to work, which will make you, which where you can live a good life. Okay. But if you pursue to be rich, then you have passion to become rich. You don't have passion to be knowledgeable.
okay. That's some great clarification.
Yeah.
That clarification was needed. So, so during your research, what
Uh-huh.
have you found? So, like you said just now, that the exciting part is what I will do in today in my work, or what new thing I can work upon on in my lab. So what's the most rewarding research that have satisfied you so much, or you think that's the most rewarding thing till your journey, till until the journey now?
The I don't think there is something that is a scientific question that I answered which was most rewarding. That there are few, and there are, if I start explaining them, it would get very uh, technical. But I would say during my journey, what I have found, what I have discovered is I understand people, right? I worked with so many different people. I worked in Spain where I learned Spanish to communicate with people, right? That was one thing that was really rewarding for me because while research, I learned something different, right? I learned Spanish, okay? I came to US. I worked with so many different great people, right? I got to understand personality. Okay. I went to Australia. I That was a whole different experience for me. So, I haven't. There are a few questions that I answered in the scientific community, which that's why I have a paper in Nature and Science, and there are a few more coming. Aside that, uh, my most rewarding thing that I have earned during my research career is patience. You would find me the most patient person ever because I have taken rejections for a very long period of time, right? So, and one thing I realize is that, so let's say you get hammered by something. What happens? So, for example, this when the rain falls, you get that smell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why that smell
Yeah.
comes? Is because there is this bacteria that gets bombarded with the heat in the summer. It
Hmm.
forms a shell around it.
Hmm.
Okay, and when the rain falls, the environment becomes so suitable for that bacteria's growth. It comes out of that shell. Okay, and that's when you get a smell. Why I'm giving you the bacteria's example is that when you get hard uh, times, right? You sometimes people go into shell and they don't come out, okay? And they just wait when the next rain's going to come.
Yeah.
Bacteria was lucky, rain came. Some people might not get those kind of things. They will
Yeah.
just stay in the shell. So you have to stay out of the shell, okay? And keep taking that hard time. I understand why the hard time is, right? And try to navigate through that path. And that's what I learned, that if you stay on the path that you think is right, keep going on it. At one point, you will find a road that is actually your destiny.
That's really nicely
Great.
address your answer, means question answer.
Yes.
But let's mention the nature publication. Uh,
Yeah.
in your perspective view, yeah, every scientist has a different perspective view. But in your perspective view, which thing is more matter a lot? A complete story or publishing a reputed journal?
Two aspects of that question. Uh, Not all great stories get into great publications, okay?
Yeah,
And not great publications are great stories, okay?
yeah, that's
So,
true.
uh, the one thing that I kind of don't like in scientific community is everything is about big paper, right? How big your paper is. Okay. That shouldn't be the case, but it is, unfortunately. We can't do anything about it. But if you want to be successful in science, you have to have big papers, right?
Right.
And also you have to have a prospective and very inquisitive mind. So if you can keep both, it's a good thing. Uh, Rarely it happens that you have great story and does not go into great paper. But if you're answering question well, thoughtfully and constructively, it will get into a good paper. right? So I think both aspects of this question matters to be successful in science.
Thank you. That means we are doing science from since long period. We have mentioned already one professor, one scientist from India who worked in
Yeah.
past. Actually, can
Yeah.
you please share some scientist, past or present, you admire most in your life? Yeah, you will think, yeah, I'm blessed to work with this person. Can you share some?
So there are two people that comes to my mind. One is not actually a scientist, but the one that actually I owe everything of my career to him. But he's not scientist. But the scientist that I really enjoyed working with and who I really admire is the one that I'm working with right now. Okay? Uh, it- that's where I see when you think of Stanford, one of the best university in the world, one of the most topmost university in the world, and and why people get into the Stanford as a professor is because they have this unique skill of be able to understand people, right? And the professor that I'm working with, she understands people uh, how to deal with them, how to manage people, right? She does not give you, she doesn't micromanage. Micromanagement is one of the biggest issue in science, right?
Yeah,
She does not micromanage. She gives you freedom, which is the most important thing as a scientist, that you should have freedom. So when I said uh, the science is the only profession where you have freedom to do whatever you want, the most important word in that whole sentence is the freedom, right? If I'm working with someone and I don't have freedom, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
So she gives you freedom. She will let you ask question that you want to ask. So, but the guy who I was talking about earlier, who was not scientist, but I really admire the most, is uh, is a professor who was teaching college when I was in my 12th grade. He saw that there were three students like me who were at the bottom of the class, right? So if there are 40 people in the class, I was 38th
okay.
in the list, right? So what he did was he took these three people, coached them personally, right? And out of these three, I was the only one who wanted to study but who could not understand what's going on. Other two didn't really wanted to study, so they just fell out of this process. I stuck with him. He literally adopted me and coached me personally. And at the end, I realized that I do understand science. I just needed proper motivation to uh, uh, get
Good.
into the get into the field.
Yeah, it's really emotionally connection. Means building an
Yeah, it
emotional
is. It is.
connection means, yeah, that's also
Yes,
important. Means
it is.
Yes.
not only science, that's also important in a grown up a child in its career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, they are the teachers
Yeah.
playing such a key role in our life. Means,
Yeah, I
are the
know.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now means you are a scientist, but I have a funny question for you. If
Uh-huh.
you means if you're not a scientist, what do you will what do you have been?
Oh, I would
You are
have
not
been many other
scientist.
things. I would have been
Uh,
many other things, but the first thing I would have been is a chef.
oh,
I think
Okay.
chef or a
Okay.
baker. Yeah.
means
And
we are finding in a science means every scientist have good food. Means
yeah, I
I want to be a
not
scientist
all,
in
not all,
future.
but I have seen many who are because they're two different fields, but they're almost same, right? In research, I have
Mix
like 10
everything.
different 10 different steps. We're using 10 different ingredients or 10 different reagents, right? It's same in cooking. I have 10 different steps with 10 different ingredients, right? At the end, we have product, right?
Yeah.
So both field well both profession come from the passion. So I think that's the reason. But I would have been chef. I would have been baker. Uh, I was never good in sports, and I don't think I would have been a sportsman. Uh, I would have been a carpenter. I would have been a really good carpenter.
Oh,
Okay.
Since my
That.
college, since my college, I worked in a furniture shop, so I would have been a carpenter for sure.
okay.
That's really inspiring, sir.
Yeah,
That's really inspiring. So, my question for you is, the time is limited. So, one
yeah, we
last
have only.
question.
So,
Yeah. The last question is, one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self.
uh, my younger self. Oh my God. Uh, that is that is a hard one because I always thought I would I even if you ask someone who was in my class in ninth or tenth and tell them I'm working in Stanford, they would never think they will at least laugh at you the least,
Yeah,
right?
that
Because uh, I would say to myself is that uh, be patient, ask for help because I realized that if I had asked help earlier in my career, I would have been much at a much better position. But I don't think that would have mattered because I'm already at a position that I would have I'm enjoying, and I really follow Gita, Bhagavad Gita to the core, and I take the lesson from Bhagavad Gita that trust the process.
Uh,
Don't
Same
expect.
here from
Don't
my
ex.
side. Actually, this
Yeah,
book changed
yeah.
my whole life, entire my career.
yeah.
So
I have it in my home still. Even if I have some anything that I face a question, problem in my life, I just open any page and read through it, and there is a solution. But it has changed my perspective a lot. So I just try to trust the process. We- the effect of that process will come or not come. It's not in my hand, right? That's the one thing I always tell to other people, even the younger generation, that people can take what's on your hand, right? They can't take what's on your destiny.
yeah. So
So thief will come
yes.
and steal whatever is in your hand, but he can't steal what's written here. So don't cry for things you don't have.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
it's a
That's
pleasure to meeting with you.
really great. Great to
Very
hear, sir.
inspiring journey. Thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts, sharing your journey.